I think I clicked on the wrong one. Oh, well.
That's all right, dude. We're all
Welcome
rusty.
back to Cover. Tonight, we're doing one of the, dare I say, most classic albums of all time, even though the damn fools in that magazine rated them way too high. But I think it was fate because we got Unruly Simeon on the show.
What's up, Unruly?
How you guys doing tonight?
Excellent.
Older, fatter, balder. Not that bald.
I'm the fatter part.
It's the axis.
But you know, I had a doctor's appointment the other day, and I found out I lost 20 pounds.
Did you really?
I don't know how,
Dude,
but I don't know where it
great.
went. It's gone.
That's great, man. Good for you.
So, yeah, that's the highlight of my day. I shrunk an inch, though. That sucks.
You're shrinking?
I guess.
Wow.
I guess 40's when it's going to start.
Yeah. Dude, that's good. It's usually the other way around. Usually the doctor gets on you for gaining 20, not losing 20. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So, anyway, Axis, Bold as Love. This was Jimi Hendrix and the Experience. This was their second album. It was released December 1st, 1967. So it's got kind of a big birthday coming up, 55 years. It was released on Track Records. I don't know what that was that I had written down. Something about 7 months after the debut. Oh, 7 months after their first album. So pretty quick. They released, it was kind of commonplace back then that they would release, bands would release a couple albums a year. Some bands release 3 albums a year.
And Donnie, didn't it have something to do with the first album was experienced in the U.S., but then this one was released in the U.K. 7 months later? Or was it 7 months later for a U.S. release also?
No, this had to do with their contract. They had to their contract stipulated that they had to release 2 albums by the end of the year.
Okay.
And incidentally, this album almost had to be delayed.
Yeah, I read some of the reasons why it almost got really delayed.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I read a little bit and it seemed like they were doing all their business out of England.
Yeah.
The recording, everything.
It was produced by Chaz Chandler, who was also their manager. Chaz Chandler and basically the band. Because Jimmy liked to spend a lot of time in the studio, and that was some of the conflict that later arose within the band, was how much of a perfectionist he tended to be. If it wasn't right, he didn't want to put it out, which absolutely nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. But he that was the stigma behind a lot of the later releases, like the albums that he was working on when he passed. People threw it out there that he was just too busy doing drugs and stuff, and that wasn't it. He was such a perfectionist that he didn't want to put shit out that wasn't the way he wanted it.
He was David Coverdale before David Coverdale.
Exactly.
That's not very nice.
Well, like I said, what I read, they ran into quite a few snags in this album, so including the album cover itself.
He completely lost the tape for the first side of the LP.
Is that true?
Yeah.
It was how was it?
He left it in the cab.
Was that ever found?
Back of the London cab. I was gonna look and I never got around to looking to see if it was ever found, but
That's crazy, dude.
Whoever did find it,
Oh my, priceless, right?
yeah, exactly.
I would love to hear it though,
Yeah,
because they literally, from what it seemed like, they tried to did they re-record and remix everything in one night?
yes,
Well, apparently somebody had a tape of an earlier version, and so they re-recorded some of it and remixed some of it, but Hendrix wasn't happy with it.
Right.
yeah. He felt like there should have been, they should have had more time with it than obviously just one night, which I agree. They could have had, but what they were able to do with it in that one night, phenomenal.
Pretty impressive for one night. Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that they had to iron, if 6 was 9, they had to iron the tape. What? Which I after I heard that, I listened to that on the way to work one morning, and I pulled in the parking lot and I'm listening to it and I'm going, oh my God, I can hear the wrinkles. Because if you listen to that at the end of it, it just sounds like it was repaired. You know, but to me that added to it. It's probably one of the reasons that's one of my favorite Hendrix tracks.
Well, you're talking about how he was such a perfectionist in the studio. That's why we've gotten all this great music, or more of his stuff. It's not up to his standards, obviously.
Right.
Once his family got control of his music, there's been like 5 albums of completely different stuff. Not to mention all the concert stuff.
Yeah.
Because I've got at least 15 live shows that were not previously accessible.
And I think that's amazing that they had all of that, the live performances, as much as they did on tape, because if you look at a lot of other bands, they're, especially from earlier in their career, you don't see that a lot of the recordings.
It seemed like they were more prepared back in the old days, because there are more times than there isn't where there's footage of bands and recordings and whatnot. I guess maybe just because the times were changing, it was a new era, so they were documenting everything.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, like example of that would be like, I know this is 10 years later, but like the Misfits.
Yep.
All of a sudden, I know recently you've seen a lot of home video footage popping out of the woodwork with them, especially in their early years, like 77, 78.
I feel like the Ramones more than the Misfits, because they documented everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of their really early stuff.
The Ramones?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
and you got to figure too, in New York, that's where every aspiring filmmaker gravitates to.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
I'm sure there was a bunch of kids with home movie cameras in the audience,
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was just getting ready to say the New York hardcore scene in the early 80s, 81, 82, 83. They documented everything. Somebody documented with photos, with video, with recordings. I mean, I guess a new era, people were prepared and documenting it.
Well, I don't know if any of y'all are into Pearl Jam or Dave Matthews, but they pretty much record every concert and release it as a CD or album to their fans.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm on the mailing list for Dave Matthews and I've got a handful of them, but there's 100 of his live shows you could buy,
And the same thing with Pearl Jam.
Yeah, the same thing with Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
That's something I wish all bands would do. If you go to a show, they should record them, and you have the opportunity to buy that show on CD or whatever.
I agree with that.
That show you went to, I always thought that'd be cool to have.
I was at this show. This is the show, and then you could hear it, relive it again, right?
That's like
but if they did that, there's always some jerk in the audience who, in a lull, is going to scream "Freebird!"
Freebird, yeah.
And then when they play it back, that was me, y'all.
But I found, like, for instance, when I was younger, I was like, I don't know, 14 or so, maybe, give around there, maybe his age. I went and seen White Zombie here in town.
Uh-huh.
And flipping through YouTube, the whole concert's on YouTube of that show. I'm like, that's friggin' awesome. Now I can rewatch that show I seen that I was, I was all over the place at that show, so I didn't get to see. I wasn't sitting there watching the whole show, so I was able to. It was nice to rewatch it and hear it.
You know what I found on YouTube? Kind of the same thing. I saw Pearl Jam at this little ass venue here. That's not the same thing anymore. I think I've talked about it before. And I found that concert on YouTube maybe a month ago, and I was like, no freaking way, dude. I was at that freaking show. So it is freaking pretty cool. It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of you, we lost Jim.
There's two of them. He'll be back.
There's two of them. Speaking of YouTube and that, I want to direct to a conversation you and I had last night, Raul, about in regards to this album.
Yeah.
And how difficult it seemed to be to listen to this album on YouTube.
Did you try it yourself?
I mean, you can track down the individual songs,
yes,
and listen to them that way.
I had that problem too.
As far as an album, it seemed like it was like one list was covers, people covering the songs, and another one was songs that weren't even on this album. And were on other
but why is that's the first time it's happened? Usually you put in an album and it comes right out and you hear it. You might have commercials, but for this album, it was freaking hard as hell.
That could come down to the Hendrix family and having a say.
That could be. I know. I don't know how it is now, but I know, like, quite a few years ago, trying to find a full-length Beatles album on YouTube was impossible.
Now all of them are on there.
Yeah, now all of them are there.
Yeah, I just looked. There's multiple versions of "Are You Experienced" in Ladyland. I don't see a single one of Axis.
Yeah,
there's none. It was super difficult to listen to it. I had to go track by track and do it that way.
No,
go ahead. I'm sorry. This is one of those albums I listen to on a weekly basis. Nice. I mean, it's one of my 5 desert island albums. I mean, awesome. When I was in boot camp, I promise you, this was playing in my head on repeat.
Wow. We need to do that. We need to do our 5 desert albums.
That's a good idea.
Count me out because I will.
We need to do that. We need to do that show.
I will sneak an MP3 player onto the island full of my collection.
You're doing a turntable, generator, and a handful of records. That's it.
Yeah. And they got to be in a milk crate. You gotta have. They got to be in a milk crate. in a green Publix milk crate. That's where you gotta. We'll send you a Publix milk crate
on an old school Victrola.
There you go.
It was recorded between May and June and October of 1967 at Olympic Studios, and I believe there was some various other places that they attempted to do some recordings, but for one reason or another they didn't seem to work out.
I noticed earlier the 2 singles that was released for this album was exactly 40 years before his birth.
Wow.
I was on his birthday 40 years prior.
Nice.
Wow.
Well, my introduction to this album was in the like '77. Now, I was a Beatles freak as a young kid, and I still love them. And then I started branching out into other stuff. When my stepmother married my stepdad, she gave me all of her old album collections. And this is a woman who saw the Beatles in Jacksonville twice,
Oh wow.
saw the Stones in Jacksonville,
Oh my God.
saw the Doors, and for all these cool experiences, and she's an awesome lady, and I love her to death. Music is not her thing, you
What?
know. It's just not. But she gave me all of her albums, and it was mainly some of it was stuff I already had. Like I already had all the Beatles, but I didn't have the early Stones. I only had like Sticky Fingers On. And she gave me the 3 Hendrix albums. And I'd heard a couple of his songs on the radio, knew he was a big deal, but had never gotten into him. And from the first second I dropped the needle on this thing, it's been that for me. I love Electric Ladyland, love Are You Experience, but this is his best studio work for me. And he's just so underrated lyrically. I mean, yeah, he can play guitar. He could put a guitar in orbit. But there's some really good lyrics on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Did he write it all? Did he write all the lyrics?
He's credited with it. I have never heard any different.
Okay.
Yeah. I think which one was it that Noel Redding did? Is that She's So Fine?
Yeah.
He didn't seem to write too many, but occasionally there was one.
Yeah, it threw me for a loop when I heard that song.
Yeah, it's different.
Well, I wasn't expecting him to be singing it.
Yeah.
You got to throw the band a bone every now and then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that explains Ringo's one song every album.
Every album, yep.
Yeah.
They were always weird and
Or
quirky,
just
just
two
like him.
songs.
Octopus Garden. He was like a kindergartner, bro. Dude, I love Ringo though, man.
He's going to outlive them all, man.
Yeah.
I promise you, he'll be the last one standing.
And he looks great, dude.
He does.
He looks great. But
And
he
still tours like a madman.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
He just
What is it? The All Stars? Ringo's All Stars?
Ringo's
All-Star
All-Star.
man.
He just seems like I have an uncle, man, and you know, people that just don't give a fuck. That's my uncle.
What-
You know, he just nothing phases him. He's just like goes with the flow. He's literally just floated across life, dude. And he's had a great life, man. But he just easy rider, dude. Is my uncle, dude. It's just like wow. It's yeah, that's how Ringo is. In my opinion, he's just like, man, it is what it is.
And you could tell he was like that early in the early stuff, because there he is. He's just drumming, and he's like this.
It's like no ego. You can do what you want. I don't care. Just no ego, dude. It's just it
The
is.
crazy thing is too is as a kid he had a lot of health problems.
Did he
Yeah.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
as a kid?
Yeah, in the hospital all the time.
Maybe that's
And
why
here he
he's
is.
the
Here
way
he is gonna live forever.
Yeah, maybe that's why he is the way he is. You know?
And let's not forget, he was the one Marge Simpson had a crush on.
Dude, and I don't know, is he still together with Barbara Bach?
Oh, I think that burned up a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. It doesn't
I'm not
matter,
sure.
dude. I remember when I saw that movie Caveman, I was like, God, go Ringo.
He was a Beatle. If you can't,
He's a
if you
Beatle,
can't
bro.
get a good-looking broad as a Beatle, move to San Francisco and
Yeah.
switch teams.
Yeah, dude. He's a Beatle, dude. Enough said, right? Mic drop.
Yeah, I might be the drummer, but I am a Beatle.
I am a Beatle, son. Badass.
I want to point out it's I guess a conversation I had with my buddy James back in the day. He had brought up. He said, how long? How many albums did Hendrix have? I said 3. He said, how? Oh, 4. Yeah. How is he so well credited as one of the big guys? I said it's not always the amount of content; it's what you do with that content.
Quality, not quantity.
And there was a lot of innovations that he did in the studio, for one, and as a guitarist, too. And he said, okay. After I explained that to him, it made sense. And I said, one of the other guys always made the crack that he cheated because he had long fingers. Who gives a shit? He was built to play a guitar.
Who cares?
He was built to play a guitar. He was self-taught, just like Eddie. And
Eddie's got huge hands.
Right. The man could physically, and he knew how to do it left-handed because he was left-handed. He figured out how to do it. And one of the other comments that this gentleman had said was about tinkering with the guitar. Think about it. It's 1967, 1966. What technology was available at that point? He had to fuck with the guitar to get the sounds that he wanted.
Right.
It's just like Link Ray shoving a pencil into the freaking speaker to get distortion.
Yep.
Or Ray Davies, that for that matter, doing the same thing. I think back on some of these conversations. I'm like, why weren't these guys thinking about this? They had to. There was necessity to get what they wanted out of the music.
Yeah.
And not only was he an innovator, think about how many live shows this cat played.
Yeah.
There was not a major festival from Woodstock till the time he died. He was there.
Yeah.
I mean, Monterey Pop, Boston, the big one in Miami.
Yeah.
Nope. I just think of
Miami. In
Miami.
Atlanta. He was at all of them.
Yeah.
Wasn't Monterey his first gig, like U.S. gig?
What? I didn't hear the first part. I'm sorry.
Wasn't Monterey Pop like his first U.S. gig?
I'm not sure. But and Isle of Wight, dude, look at the lineup and look at some of the live albums from Isle of Wight.
Yeah. I thought he played Isle of Wight.
I mean, that was a more than 1 year thing. It was an annual thing for a while. But 69, everyone was there, and that's where all the great live albums are from.
Where was that? Where's that at?
It's like Staten Island is to New York to England.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a little island in the south, and that's where everybody vacations that can get there.
Nice. Yeah, but you know what, dude? He didn't do it with little fingers, bro. At the end of the day, he didn't do it with short fingers, bro, and that's just gonna hold back his legacy, dude. At the end of the day, when it goes down.
Big fingers and big fro. Yeah, that hair, iconic, man, iconic.
Dude, his whole style, man,
iconic.
His whole style, dude.
Oh yeah, man. There was just that famous like Sergeant Pepper's sort of jacket that blue with the gold braid that he wore everywhere. Who else could have pulled that off in everyday life?
Yeah.
A handful of people back then.
Yeah.
Style.
Love the cat. And I'm serious. If I could go back in time, I'm not going back to 1963 and buying 100 copies of FF1 and AF15. I'm going back to the night he died and slapping the shit out of him. And then taking him to rehab, and you need to live for another 30 or 40 years, you dumb. That's what I would do with my one-time trip.
Hey, Jimmy, there's a new guy on bass coming out of Ireland. You need to get together with him. His name's Phil. Do an album with him.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, taken too soon, man. He had a lot to offer still.
Well, and that's another reason I think is, like the Doors put out 6 studio albums. They're immortal. Who else? Stevie Ray Vaughan put out 5 studio albums and a live album. He's immortal. We tend to, the people that burn out the quickest, we pay more attention to.
We definitely do, man.
That's like Joplin. What did Joplin? She one album or?
I think she had one. Big Brother was one, and then she had 2 solo. I think.
Was there 2 solo?
They're just remembered as legends, though.
Yeah. And every one of those people I just listed, I'm not sure about SRV, but the other 3, they like the party.
Yeah.
27 Club.
27.
The thing is, they never got a chance to make mistakes. They never fizzled out. They never, they were at the zenith.
Exactly.
They never had that chance. Oh, the Stones, the early stuff is way better than the stuff that came later, but they're still touring. But Richie Valens, dude, 17 years old, and he's regarded as an all-time legend, dude.
And Buddy Holly.
And Buddy Holly, dude. They never got It sucks. It's a shame for all of us.
Well, the Stones had an awful good run, man, of putting out significant stuff. And granted, it's been, I think Voodoo Lounge for me is the last album I'd consider front to back good. But, 25, 30 years of putting out real and influential music.
No, I know, but let's say their plane fell in 1978 and they all perished. We wouldn't be talking about.
They'd be even bigger than they are.
Exactly. We wouldn't be. We wouldn't be. It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same.
Like Skinner.
Yeah.
They carried on, and it just ain't the same.
Not the same.
Yeah, I've seen the remnants of Skinner a couple times.
Like even this chick, Amy Winehouse. She might be like. People probably look at her bigger than Adele's huge. I'm just comparing the Adele and her, right? Mm-hmm. Amy Winehouse is a legend, pretty much. Adele's still a legend, but it's not the same, in my opinion. I'm just talking on my, but it's just she's just kind of. Adele will always be there, and Amy, oh my gosh, she was amazing. Not that Adele's not amazing, but it's just different, dude. It's a shame, regardless of what we want. It's still a shame for all of us and for them,
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain. Okay, we're not talking about them. We're talking
Hendrix.
Well, in a way, it's related to that.
Yeah.
Oh, Band of Gypsies.
Band of Gypsies.
I don't know why I always forget about that.
That was the second show on as the New Year's Eve 1970, which he put out officially. This is the first show, and it's a very different track listing, but some in common. These are 2 albums you have to have.
Okay.
What year did he die?
I have Band of Gypsies, but I don't have that other one.
What year was it that he died? 71?
70.
70?
The anniversary of his death was just a few weeks ago in September.
Wow.
What, 18th?
I'd have to look at my Instagram.
I'm pretty sure he died the day Paranoid came out.
Really?
Yeah, and so that's
that's interesting.
Do your friends talk about Hendrix? And your friends? Do kids still talk about Jimi Hendrix at all?
I don't think they do.
Nobody, right? It's
Yeah,
not.
He died the 18th of September.
Yeah, the 18th.
Well, I would have to look it up, but there was a point. It was whenever his family gained control of his music, which was like in the early aughts. It was somewhere between 2000 and 2005. And I read this in Rolling Stone, and every year from his death up until then, 500,000 of his albums sold a year, which isn't too shabby for somebody that's been dead.
Yeah.
But it's probably old geezers like us. You know what I'm saying?
Buying the reissues.
Axis I've owned on LP twice, 8-track, cassette, several different CD versions.
And now, vinyl. People are buying vinyl now again. So
me and Cookie went to a vinyl store today.
Yeah.
Right next to there's a real nice store right next to Tate's, and I saw it there. And me and Cookie started talking about it. So it's a beautiful.
Me and him collect vinyl, so that's like our thing.
We got like one record store near us, and it's the worst place ever. I don't know how they're still in business. It's like literally like you go into like a closet, like a pantry.
It's pitiful.
It's pathetic, and their albums are like
they try
$20 over what they're supposed to be.
If you come down here, that one was pretty nice.
There's a couple of good ones in Tampa though.
In Orlando.
And there's that nice one. I think we talked about it before. That nice one in Orlando, right?
Park Avenue, yeah.
Yeah, that's a real nice store.
I almost bought this at an antique store on vinyl, and the sleeve was perfect, but I pulled the vinyl out and there was a great big scratch across it.
Are you serious?
And you flipped it over and you didn't see it from one side, but when you flipped it over in the center where the nameplate is,
yeah,
there was a crack started. I was like, well, I ain't buying this.
No wonder it's still there.
You should have bought that for the sleeve and then found a good copy of the vinyl.
That's true. I should have.
That's a good point.
How much was it?
I don't think he heard you.
Donnie, you remember how much it was?
No, I don't. I don't even think I looked at the price after I saw that big scratch.
Nope.
I don't blame you.
Another cool thing regarding vinyl is it's not just new stuff, that's getting released there when they do these anniversary remasters, and you can get the box sets with like 5 LPs or 5 CDs, and it's got every cut of every track that they diddled around with in the studio. I'm not that big a completist, but I want all the songs that didn't make the album.
Yeah.
I want to hear those.
You're a completist.
No, man, I don't need to hear all 20 cuts of, Riders on the Storm. I don't. But I want to hear the stuff that didn't make the album.
It's funny you brought up Reddit. There's so many versions of that song. Oh my god.
Yeah.
There's electronic ones that redid Riders of the Storm. There's a ton of remixes. Oh my god.
Now maybe with Hendrix I want to hear every cut, every track. Maybe.
I told you, you're a completist.
Where it comes to Hendrix, anyway.
Where it comes to Hendrix. There you go.
Another thing I wanted to point out was the guest appearances on this album. You had Graham Nash and Gary Leeds, Trevor Burton and Roy Wood from The Move or parts of later UFO, not UFO. Electric Light Orchestra.
Yellow.
I didn't know that. I thought that was cool when I found that out that those people had made appearances on the album. Certain songs. If 6 was 9, was probably, other than songs like Purple Haze or All Along the Watchtower, my first introduction to Hendrix. through that song was in the movie Easy Rider. And after that, I think is when I got the best of that they had released. Experience Hendrix, and that was kind of my first influence with Hendrix. Then a few years later, probably my senior year of high school, when I was of college, I was still started buying music like crazy, and I bought this, and I think I bought the first album, and then I bought this and Electric Ladyland, and they were kind of in heavy rotation for quite a while for me. And then I grew to love at least 4 of the songs on this album.
For me, there's not a bad cut. I'm looking at the track listing right now, man. There's nothing you ever want to skip. Not for me anyway. But Castles Made of Sand is just so beautiful and so deep.
That's my favorite song on the album. That song is amazing. I got into Hendrix because MTV came out with a video for Are You Experienced? And it was like, I don't know if you've seen that video. It's like, I think I remember it. And almost like different cuts. And it was like a big deal when they did it. And I was like, oh my God, Are You Experienced? Because I had heard Purple Haze and all that, but when I heard Are You Experienced, I was like, God, this song is amazing. And that's when I started listening to Hendrix more. And then I got his greatest hits. I never had this album. I had Are You Experienced, and then I had like a greatest hits album.
I just had Are You Experienced, and I got that from a friend in like 6th grade. I think it was 6th grade. We traded something, or he gave it to me, and I still have that CD actually. But
that's awesome.
I never had this album or heard it. I heard songs on it.
Right. Me too.
A few songs, Castles Made of Sand and Little Wing.
Little Wing, yeah.
Little Wing's my favorite song on the album.
Love it as well.
Little Wing is bad.
Yeah. Real good.
And I believe
he cries, "Oh girl, you must be mad. What happened to the sweet love you and me had? Against the door he leans and starts a scene, and his tears fall and burn the garden green." Yeah, that's poetry, man.
Yeah.
Right, and right there's the lyricist that you were talking about at the beginning of the show was how deep the lyrics are in this album. I mean,
and the last cut, Bold as Love, blue are the life-giving waters taken for granted. As good as any lyric anyone's ever written for me.
When I think of the 60s, and he's the first person that comes to mind, that whole scene and all that. He's the number one person that comes to mind. The look, the style, the music, the times. Dude, what is it? Burning the guitar, all that's
yeah, that was at Monterey.
Yeah, dude, being on it's just, dude, what a performer, dude. I think 60s, I think him, dude. I think maybe Creedence is close second, maybe, but it's Jimi, dude. He's up there.
Especially the late 60s, like 60s,
yeah, exactly. That period. It's
going into the Summer of Love and all that.
Yeah, it's him.
Yeah,
and maybe Janice too, but for me, it's Jimi, man. He's like the pinnacle. He's at the top of that mountain for that time period.
Him and Morrison for me.
Morrison as well. He's right there. I just got Jimi all the way at the top. It's all those guys, but I got Jimi. He's at the top of that mountain, dude, for that time period. He's just embodied everything about it. The drugs,
Yeah.
everything.
That and kind of the whole, whenever you hear anything about Woodstock,
Mm-hmm.
Hendrix is the first thing you hear about.
It's him.
Yeah,
I think he had probably the most memorable show
yeah.
of the whole event. I think who might have been second. Joe Crocker had a pretty popular show.
One of the most famous live shows of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And if memory serves me right, they were waiting and they weren't sure he was going to show up.
Yeah, it was like he had like an 11 or 12-hour delay and played on the last morning.
Yeah, he got there and he woke everybody up.
Can you imagine listening to him in the morning, dude?
Oh my God,
what that must have been like.
Yeah,
Especially hungover.
waking up.
Mind blown, right?
You're in a drug-addled stupor, and all of a sudden you start hearing this wild rendition of the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh my God!
Wow!
You're
just getting straight after eating the brown acid.
Yeah, bro, exactly. You're in a haze. You're in a purple haze, dude. And then you wake up to that, dude. That had to be freaking mind blowing.
Yeah.
God, what an experience, dude.
And I always think about the interview he did with
Dick
now
Cavett?
I can't think of the Cavett. And he's like, Cavett said about it being unorthodox, and he's like, no, I don't think it was unorthodox. I think it was beautiful. And I'm like, it was, because if someone actually listens to that, and you're like, he put everything in there.
Yeah.
Everything.
Bombs, explosions.
Yep. It's
You know, when I was a kid, I never really paid attention to that until somebody had mentioned it, and then once you know it and hear it, you never unhear it. You know.
Yeah.
The squealing of the bombs, and it's great, phenomenal.
You guys like
There's been people that tried to duplicate that, and no one has ever made it sound as good as he did.
You guys like Dick Cavett?
He's before my time, but I like watching some of the guests he had.
I vaguely remember my mom that being on in the background. My mom would watch him, you know. But I've seen clips of various interviews.
Yeah,
dude, he's great, bro. Or he's still alive, I believe.
Yeah, he is.
Good Lord, he's got to be 200.
He's got to be, dude. But dude, he was great interview.
I think he's like 80, between 80 and 85, somewhere in there.
He was a great interview. I've seen a lot of it on YouTube. He's amazing, dude.
I noticed it's on Tubi.
Yeah. Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Freaking amazing stuff.
One of my favorite interviews with Dick Cavett, other than the Hendrix interview, is the one he did with Hitchcock.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's great.
I watched the one with Lennon. He had John Lennon on there.
John Lennon.
Yeah.
They're
good ones.
He had everybody on that freaking show, bro. He had everybody that was anybody at that time was on that show.
He was like the
Johnny Carson before Johnny Carson.
Oh, I was gonna say Ed Sullivan.
He was, dude.
He was the daytime Johnny Carson.
He was like a Merv Griffin. He was the early Merv Griffin. Donahue. I'm thinking Donahue.
Yeah, because Helm and Merv were competitors. I think.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. Tangent. You should say Cavett, and I'm a fan of his. So,
all right, we want to talk about the cover.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It is cover to cover.
No, that's not it. There it is. All right.
The cover, I read the cover. He did not necessarily give his approval for anybody in the band, and they were this happy with it.
The hell is present? Share screen. They changed some things in here
because of its Hindu, I believe, the Hinduism.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe I read that it's still banned in India. The cover's banned in India.
Yeah. Yeah. He he wanted elements that reflected some of his Native American heritage, because his grandmother was Native American, and when he said Indian, and they mistook that for East Indian, and
Is that where the miscommunication was?
yeah, it was a miscommunication, and when it was presented, it wasn't presented to him before they made the final cut, and he wasn't happy with the fact that they didn't, come and say, here, this is the product.
Isn't that strange that they would? Isn't that strange that they would do that? Right?
Yeah, I'm surprised
to me, it's not strange.
Really? You don't think they would ask and get final approval from the artists for the album covers? Really?
No,
Especially
listen,
not back
man.
then, because
Back
record
then-
companies
back
didn't
then,
give a fuck.
The record companies owns you. Look at what
Right.
happened to John Fogerty. I
Right.
just saw an interview with, and this is 10 years later, with Van Halen talking about when they came off tour from their first album, which had gone double or triple platinum, and they just spent 200 dates touring that year. The record company says you owe us $1 million. I mean, it used to be ridiculous.
Well,
Just like with the contract stating that they had to have this released by the end of that year. It's like,
Yeah.
It's no wonder they were bouncing back and forth between concert dates and studio time to try to get it done, and then it almost had to be delayed because
Oh my God.
accidents happen.
Exactly.
That was appropriate, wasn't it, Jim?
But you know what? It's an amazing freaking album cover.
it is.
It's what made me play this album first out of the three of them.
Wow. And it's a wraparound, right? Can you get to the other side?
I don't think I looked it up, but I can do this.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, yeah, do that. That's
Yours is different. Mine goes side to side.
That's nuts. I could see
This is, for me, my favorite album cover. This and Abraxas from Santana
Oh yeah.
are the two most easily recognizable album covers. And I guess Zeppelin 4 is pretty but it's not nearly as good as this or Santana.
It's not nearly as good as Back in Black
The White Album.
or the White Album. Exactly.
You want to know how old I am? Back in Black was the last album I bought brand new on 8-track.
Oh my God.
Because I had an 8-track player and a decent set of speakers and receiver. And the night it came out, we had a party the next day. A buddy of mine's parents were out of town. And I bought Back in Black. I didn't even know that, we didn't have the internet and all that heavy stuff. Yeah. I had no idea AC/DC was putting out an album after Bond died.
Right.
I grabbed that and Jay Giles' Love Stinks. Those are the last two albums I bought brand new on 8-track. Nice. And we played Back in Black probably 90% of that party.
Wow. Good. That's like amazing memory. Good memory, right? On an 8-track.
Oh, yeah.
Are the kids playing 8-tracks again? Have the 8-tracks come back?
Not yet.
I don't think those will come back.
Dude, those things sucked back then, bro.
Stopping in the middle of songs, you had to flip them over.
Yeah, and then you would hit the button, and it would clack clack, and then the next one would. Oh my!
They're right next to the beta tape.
Dude, they were the
Laserdisc of music.
I don't doubt that there will be a collector's market for the damn things, just like there are for VHS tapes now.
You know what? There has to be an 8-track
Cassettes are coming back too.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I heard that.
And I never thought that would have happened.
Me neither.
Yeah,
Me neither.
He's collecting cassettes too now,
bands and stuff
and vinyl.
are putting their albums on cassettes right alongside the vinyl release and the CD release.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
nuts, bro.
We're in the year
Yeah, Sacred
2020. We're
Records
making
did it.
vinyls and record and cassettes still.
2020.
2022. Sorry.
You know how to use your pencil with the cassette? You already know the trick?
You gotta squeeze the end a little bit. And
Yeah, then yeah.
Cassettes are just so convenient. They take up so little space. You know, it's even easier to flip a cassette over than it is an album.
Yeah, but you know what's the best thing of the cassette?
I think a
When
CD's pretty good.
When you got them and they're playing and all of a sudden the music stops and then you try to take them out and they're stuck in there. That's
That's the best.
there's nothing funner. You want to have a good time? Wait until that happens, dude. It's hours of fun. Hours of fun, dude.
Hours of fun.
Enjoy
Hours of
yourself.
trying to get your tape out of there.
Yeah, without breaking. And then when it stretches, when you pull too hard, dude, hours of fun, bro.
I saw that happen a few
Hours.
times.
Yeah, hours. of
Luckily, it was blank recorded tapes that happened to.
Yeah, your what is it? Your mixtape.
Yeah,
Your mixtape.
the ones you waited for a song to play, and if you didn't hit record at the right moment, you were like, I gotta wait again.
Or the DJ. The
DJ's talking
DJ
through the whole intro.
Yeah, the DJ's talking through the whole intro. But
Shut
back
up!
then they were better about it, because they knew people were ready to record, so they wouldn't talk too much before the intros. But yeah, man. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
the local FM station in Virginia Beach, this is like 74, 75. At midnight, they play 6 new albums back to back, no commercials, because they knew that's what people were doing.
Wow.
That's actually pretty cool.
That is super cool. That's a time gone by. You won't see that again.
No.
Well, yeah, man, you don't see AOR stations anymore. They don't exist. It's all corporate BS.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the big guys, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
I
Even my
mean-
local radio station turned into that.
We got one in Tampa that's kind of like an independent radio station, and they play a lot of. It's pretty much strictly unknown stuff. These people I never heard of, and you could probably go down to the local coffee shop and see some of these people play.
Wow.
And they'll bring in guests and stuff like that. I had a couple friends that went on there and they played some songs, and it's they get people to donate, and it's what keeps the station open.
Wow.
But other than that, when I was a kid, one of the FM stations here in town, they would at midnight on Friday night they had a show called The Pit, and they'd play all the metal songs. They'd play death metal, the heavy metal. They play all kinds of different types of metal, and that's how I got into a lot of the hard, heavy metal stuff.
Nice.
Sepultura and Propane and all that good stuff. All that stuff.
Sepultura.
They're still good. You can still hear different new stuff and a mix of the older stuff on college radio.
College radio is always good.
Mhm.
But that's it. And they have such tiny little, towers.
Yeah.
But when I was in Raleigh, they had this was like 10 years ago, NC State had a college radio station, and from 9 to 12 on Friday night, they played prison rock. And it was songs requested by prisoners from the area. And it was usually hardcore metal.
That's
Dude,
awesome.
that is crazy, bro.
That's great. See that there needs to be stuff like that for me to be interested in listening to the public radio, because there ain't just nothing on the radio I care to hear anymore.
Mhm.
Dude, public radio is horrible, dude. It's
Garbage.
Bad. I don't want to hear the same Guns N' Roses song a billion times in a row.
it's Sweet Child of Mine,
Paradise City.
Paradise City, I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett.
Yeah.
It's
Girls.
Yep.
girls.
Don't stop believing.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Don't
That
stop
sounds
believing, bro.
Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer.
That doesn't bother me that much.
That one doesn't bother me. That one doesn't bother me. Wanted Man by Bon Jovi. That one's on a lot. It's like, dude, come on, man.
There's been times where I've been on like a ride that's not even an hour long, and you hear the same song 3 times.
Yeah, dude, it's horrible. It's like, why waste your time?
Big corporations own every radio station in the country now.
Yep.
And it's pre-programmed, dude. And when I was a kid, DJs played what they wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how sometimes records became hits. Is a DJ would hear it, he'd play it, the whole town would buzz about it, it'd jump to the next town, and then boom.
Yeah. And that's how we would find new music. That's the only way back then we had to. Now it's different, of course, but back then it was like, did you guys hear what they played today? What is that? Who was that? And
with our local radio station, when the new guys took over, I say new, but that was 15 years ago or better. That was their mission statement, was that they weren't going to play the same old songs over and over again. Well, 5 years on, they started playing the same old shit over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, guys, you made a promise to the public that you weren't going to do this.
Yeah, do better, man.
And there they are. And now they've grown, and they're this kind of semi-big. They're still small, but they've become this behemoth for the area, and it's like they don't care anymore. Whatever.
Because I don't think people listen to it like they used to, because they have everything in their phones, you know, or Spotify,
or I want to play when I want to listen to it.
iRadio or whatever.
We have so many more options now.
In fact, they just there's nobody in there on the weekends. They set a playlist to go, and that's it. And the music playlist even has the ad bumps.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know, why even have public radio anymore?
Exactly.
But you know what? I always bring every Sunday morning or afternoon when I head back out to work, I bring 6 CDs with me, because I hit a spot where I got nothing, no digital connection, you know, so I can just plug something in without having to resort to the radio.
Yeah, you always put that. You always post that every week. That and your reading, reading file. Yeah, on Instagram.
My boss was bitching about not being able to, because he's got a newer truck and it doesn't have a CD player in it. So he started downloading some of his music onto his phone, and he's got a limited playlist that he has it connected to his truck. He's like, it's bullshit. I said, if you want me to get you a bigger playlist, I'll get you a bigger playlist.
Yeah, well, you know, I pay the $9.99 a month for YouTube Premium, and that way, whatever's on there, I can hear without having to worry about an ad.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, Amazon, I probably bought 300 or 400 albums from Amazon, and you get a free digital version.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta do that. That's been something I need to get, that premium YouTube.
It's worth it, man.
It's where I play.
I can't deal with an ad. I can't deal with 5 seconds of an ad anymore.
Oh, and the ads are stupid ridiculous. I was watching something the other night, and within the first 2 minutes of the video, there was 7 ads.
What is that?
7 commercials in the first 2 minutes. And then it was every minute after that.
Was it naked women? Because I wouldn't have put up with it otherwise.
No, I didn't finish the video. I said, after the first 2 minutes, I'm like, screw this.
Yeah.
I forget what it was, but it pissed me off so bad.
And I don't think I've seen it that bad. I've never gotten that bad of ads.
And they're even worse around election time.
Pay $10 a month, and you don't have to deal with it.
I've been meaning to. I just haven't done it, man. I've just been lazy. Because that's where I hear all my music.
I'm gonna have to look into that, because man, we watch a lot of YouTube in this house.
Yeah.
So do I. And it's worth every penny.
torturous. There used to be able. There was a way that where you could basically get rid of like. There was like a little thing. You can do it every once in a while in the video. It has that little exclamation point above. You go to that, and then it'll go like, it says like stop this ad. But you can't even do that all the time now.
Like a report bar, pretty much, and it gives you the option to skip it. That's kind of the way out of it, but a lot of times that don't even work.
I usually do that when I start seeing the same ad over and over and over again.
You can never do it on opening ads. Now every video has an opening ad or two of them. And if you're lucky, you can only do them with the ones in the middle of the video, right? Yeah.
The only time I see ads anymore is during a football game. That's it.
I don't even do that, man. I got the red zone, and they that's 7 or 8 hours. They just show when teams are in the scoring in the red zone or close to scoring, and they only show the scoring plays. I watch that, and there's no commercials. I watch every game in pieces. I haven't seen a whole game in quite a while, man. Quite a while. Well, no, that's not true. Like a Thursday game, I'll have to watch that straight. But on Sundays, that's how I watch my football. I love both. That you turn around and it's like, am I right? Am I right? Old man.
Old man.
I do that with my kids. Like, I look at my kids. It's like, did I say that? Did I get that right? When it's anything new, anything within the last 20 years, it's like, I'm good. Okay.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. That's the highlight for me right there. Is when you just
there you go. Hey, getting old ain't for old people no more.
When you just did that, that's the best moment of the tonight, bro. When you just did that, I love it because that's me. I do that as well. It's like we look to them to get support or reaffirm. Yeah, you're good, Dad. You're good. You're good. Love it. Love it.
All right. Are we ready to?
Oh my God, this was a total tangent for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, real quick, back to Jimi Hendrix, real quick.
Oh, okay, Jimi Hendrix.
I was gonna say about the song, but go ahead.
We missed the whole little fun fact that Lemmy Kilmister used to be a roadie for Hendrix.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I did not know that.
In London.
That is awesome.
He even said that was like one of the best the best periods of his life was being a roadie for the experience.
Well, dude, the whole London scene, everyone knew everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the New York stuff, back in the day. And that I thought about that when we were talking about guests on the album that appeared on the album, and I thought, well, Lemmy was a roadie. I wonder if he was in there, while they were recording, listening, and you don't know.
You don't know, yeah.
Yeah, he could have been picking up some of his own techniques.
Yeah,
something he may have taken to Hawkwind and on. That's
crazy. What a time!
And even further back with Hendrix being a sideman, and various bands cutting his teeth.
Dude, but just think about it. He died at 27. It's just all the stuff that he happened in those 27 years. Not even 27 years, in the last 10 years or
that block of time.
Wow.
From what, 61, 62 to his death in 70.
Yeah, 10 years. Less than 10 years. It's
an explosive.
Wow. That's a lot of living in 10 years, bro.
Yeah. Less than.
Yeah. It's a lot of living.
He also spent some time in the Army.
Yeah. Didn't he? He was a paratrooper and he got injured, didn't he?
Yeah, he's in the airborne. Yeah. I had heard that he had got in trouble with the law, and it was kind of like either go to jail or go to the military, and he did the military.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that was before Vietnam ramped up, because I know if they'd given me that choice in like 67 or 66, I said, yeah, what cell block am I going to be in?
Yeah.
I'm good right here, bro. I'm good right here. I'll take my chances.
Well, hey, Mastodon, what were you going to, you were starting to say something.
Oh, I guess what songs from the album are our favorite, or which is our favorite?
Little Wing for me. That's always been my favorite since I've heard the song.
Love that song.
Mine's just-
Rod Stewart did a very good version of that.
Beautiful song.
Who? Rod Stewart?
Stevie Ray Vaughan did it too.
Stevie Ray
Yes.
Vaughan does a great version. And he also does a great version of Voodoo Child, Slight Return.
Yep.
Because I remember the first time I heard the SRV version on the radio, I thought it was Hendrix until he started singing.
That happened to me a few times listening to this album on freaking YouTube. I thought it was Hendrix, and then it's like, wait, man, what the hell, dude? Come on.
My favorites are Castles Made of Sand, Axis, Bold as Love, Little Wings up there. Castles Made of Sand would be my absolute favorite.
That's mine too.
Yeah, I think that's probably my favorite of all time from him, for sure. But I really dig. I always have. If 6 was 9, just that whole line. If 6 turned out to be 9, I don't care.
If all the hippies
Cut off all that. I don't care.
You look like a preacher right there, Wayne. I thought you were going to start a sermon.
the Church of the Stratocaster.
There you go.
Yeah.
Are we picking a new album this week?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if we were still doing that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. You know, we don't have to get to it now. I just was asking.
Yeah, we're a little rusty. It's been a while.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, you know.
I don't like this. They changed shit. It says present instead of share. I don't like that.
I don't know anything about that anymore.
All right, we're down to 8 albums left on this.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
So still got some major heavy hitters on here.
Yes, sir.
Big money, big money, big money, big money.
And stop. The White Album. Well, it's still been.
Oh my.
Ricky.
Oh, that's a classic.
It's Skip.
I thought we finally had the White Album, man. There's some shenanigans awry.
Somebody blew on
I
that
didn't
one.
do nothing. It skipped. Like a record, it skipped. I was just getting ready to say Little Boat got his wish.
Psych.
Hey, the White Album is another album I've probably bought 10 times in the course of my life.
That's my favorite Beatles album of all time.
That and Abbey Road are like neck and neck for me, but the White Album probably edges it out. Now, here's something cool. You know the band Fish, the jam band.
Yeah, the jam band.
That's not my scene, but I don't hate them.
Right.
But what they used to do back in the 90s, and they might still do it for all I know, was every year on Halloween, they put on a show and record an album, play an album front to back. And one year they did the White Album. They did the White Album, and my buddy of mine had a really nice bootleg copy of it. And I gave it to my dad for Christmas. He's the one that turned me on to the Beatles.
Nice.
And they played that. They even played Revolution 9, or as well as they could recreate it on stage. It was wild to listen to.
That's an awesome thing, though. I like that, playing somebody else's album and doing a whole free. I think that is cool as hell.
They did Quadrophenia one year because I've heard that, and they did Electric Ladyland, as a matter of fact, but
wow.
in a completely different style. But they take somebody's double album, a classic double album, and that's what they play for Halloween. They were famous for it.
That sounds cool.
That's cool.
It's got to be fun for them as well, man. Right? God.
Oh yeah, but to learn, 12 to 20 songs of somebody else's and
Yeah.
play it in order,
Yeah.
that can't be easy.
No, I can't. But it still sounds like fun.
It's got to be intimidating, I
Yeah.
would think.
It's a challenge, definitely. They should do Grease.
But hey, Ziggy is. When I was a kid, I didn't know anyone that didn't have a copy of Ziggy.
I want to see the new movie that came out about him.
Yeah, didn't it bomb? Wasn't it a bomb?
I don't know, but I still want to watch it. I didn't think it would be a big hit, but I still want to watch that.
I thought when they first announced it. Go ahead.
There's a guy that stayed relevant for a long damn time, both critically and commercially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I never even knew that they made a movie.
It was like 2 weeks ago that it supposedly came out on a Friday.
Yeah, when they first announced it, I thought it was going to be a biopic, and it's a documentary.
It's a documentary, yeah.
Yeah.
But it looks good.
I'll try and track it down.
Yeah, it'll probably be somewhere soon, if not already.
Yeah.
You'll probably stream it somewhere.
Hey, before we boogie, have y'all checked out Werewolf by Night yet?
Yes, sir.
Last night.
I loved it.
It's really good.
I want more of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Too short.
Amen.
They did a fantastic job on Man Thing, because that.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
That made my heart flutter seeing Man Thing as well as they did them.
And it doesn't look as bad as it did in 2005.
Because
looks like Man Thing.
Because Lionsgate, they did a 2005 movie. And it was garbage.
Oh, it was straight garbage.
But you know what?
Garbage.
Doing it in black and white in that style, dude, that was what won it.
That end scene with her,
and
they colorized her and did somewhere that was perfect.
Oh, and I want you guys to know that I realized tonight I stepped outside, probably about 45 minutes before the show came on, and we are in the weekend of a full moon also.
Nice.
And I want to say, don't quote me, but I want to say, back in the day when the Werewolf by Night books were released, each book, they were released on full moons.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too cool.
That.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I heard that. Don't quote me, but I've heard that before, that every issue of Werewolf by Night back in the day was released during a full moon.
If they did that, that is super cool.
And I friggin' walked outside tonight, and and I looked on my phone just to verify, and the 9th is the actual like full moon tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's some crazy strategy there.
So
it's a nice touch.
They know what they're doing. That's clever. I like it.
Yes.
And plus, if you're a reader, if you're a reader and you go pick up the book you read and you go outside in the full moon, it kind of just adds to the.
And you read it by moonlight.
Yes, there you go.
And you have a mask on, like a wolf mask on as well, as you're reading it in your undies, in your fruit in your looms. That would be even better, bro.
At night,
your Spider-Man underwear
on a trampoline.
And your werewolf by night underoos.
Yes, on a trampoline in your neighbor's yard. That would be freaking classic.
With Vincent Price speaking in the distance.
That would be classic, bro.
Have you done that before? Because it seems too specific just to like.
No, I haven't, man. But damn, it sounds good, right?
No, but I really enjoyed the show, and I really want to see more. And I can't wait for. I know they're going to come out with more. I mean, you just can't leave it at that.
Yeah, especially
with the response.
That end scene with him and Jack Russell.
Well, before it dropped, it had a perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's really good, dude.
It just zipped by.
It did.
Was 48 minutes. It seemed like 5.
No, it was 90 minutes.
No, it was 55 minutes total, and I think actual movie time was 48. You said.
Yeah, it was
the rest was, like,
48
credits.
when they pan up to the sky and it says the end.
Yep.
But
That
the
was pretty
chick, the chick that played Elsa Bloodstone, there's a show on HBO called The Nevers. You want to watch it. She's the lead.
Great.
It is really good. And I'm ready for season 2.
I don't know what it is about her. I don't know if it's her manner of speaking, but gosh, she's hot. I can't help it.
She's a good looking broad, ain't no doubt.
And she can
Speaking
act.
Speaking of movies, I watched a new Stephen King movie that dropped out on Netflix. I don't know
Is
if
it
you
good?
guys seen it. It's called Mr. Harrigan's Phone.
Is it good?
It's real good. I would recommend it.
We
It's
watched
pretty
it.
good reviews as well.
Oh, I got to
Has it?
check that out.
It's got Donald Sutherland plays Mr. Harrigan.
Oh wow.
Is it one of his crime novels?
No,
It's horror?
it's got some suspense in it. It all deals about this. Donald Sutherland, he's an old rich billionaire, whatever. So he hired
Okay. Mr. Harrigan's Phone.
Yeah,
Okay. I just read that story. Yeah, okay. I'm with you.
it's on Netflix. It's a pretty good flick.
We
Oh,
watched
yeah. And Sutherland plays the old guy. Oh, man. I got to watch
Yeah.
that.
Very good.
We watched
You know, the classic Universal monsters, the werewolf is the only scary one. Vampires, please, motherfucker. A wooden stake or some water that a priest blessed. Get out of my face.
Garlic.
The mummy, I can outrun you, mummy.
Mole Man, I
You've
thought
been
was
dead forever.
terrifying.
Yeah, but the mummy.
Frankenstein is retarded. But a werewolf can just take your head off your shoulders. Werewolves are scary.
They are
They
scary.
are.
Have you seen the Mole Man? It's like an underground race of mole people.
Yeah.
Scary stuff. That movie's pretty good. They need to remake that.
The mummy's persistent though. He'll catch you eventually. You're gonna tire out, old man. He's gonna get you.
Man,
You're gonna
that's
stumble.
why they got automobiles and airplanes.
You're gonna trip on the
halfway around
trampoline.
world.
Something's gonna happen, and you're gonna get caught, bro. He's got you, bro.
Bro, did you ever see Monster Squad?
Yep, Monster Squad.
Didn't you ever see Monster Squad? They unraveled that bitch.
Arrow. That's it.
Take that, Band-Aid breath.
And he was a skull laying on the pavement.
But yeah, I can't wait to find out what they're gonna do with Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
Finally, some characters I like are getting some love,
Yeah.
Maybe this is the start.
and not to mention both of the two characters I really like's in the same show, so you can't beat that. Hey, John.
Hey, what's up, John?
John, what's up, buddy?
Whosoever knows fear
Burns
burns
at
at the man
and
things
things
touch.
touch.
And he burnt a couple people.
Oh, I love that. That was great. When he grabbed Elsa's stepmother or whatever she was, and was like,
She
I was like,
combusted, man.
yeah.
The one dude when he grabbed him out of the bush, that was like the best.
That was the
Whole
best.
thing,
Yeah.
because it was like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But
That
the
was really
chick
well
that
done.
played the stepmother, she was off the hook good.
She was.
She was great in there.
She kind of reminded me of Kathy Bates a little bit.
Yes.
The way
Yeah.
she was acting, the way she looked, and everything.
Yeah.
Well, I looked her up because she looked familiar. Did y'all ever watch Frasier?
Yeah.
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 Remember his crazy drunk agent? You only saw her like once or twice a season.
Yeah, that was her.
That was her.
Yeah.
Really?
I've seen her in stuff before. That's nuts. Frasier.
That was a good show.
Lilith.
All right.
All right. Tangent City tonight, guys.
Tonight was a great show, great album, great artist, great panel. Thank you, John, for saying that. And 2 weeks, weather permitting, whatever permitting, Ziggy Stardust, the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust, David Bowie, another classic album. I got to look up the list. I can't remember who picked that. I got to find it somewhere in my notebook. but I will reach out to them and talk to them about getting a package of books to them. I want to thank everybody who pops in, everybody who popped in tonight, everybody who pops in on the rewind. I want to thank Unruly for joining us tonight. This is a great show. Thank you for being willing to come on. As always, I want to thank Das Boots and Hylia for coming on. We're
a lot of fun.
I was hoping to have another special guest tonight, but things happen and he was not able to make it. But thanks for watching, and get out there and listen to some music.
Yes, sir. Have a good night, everybody.
Peace.